Oh. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. Welcome, everybody. One of my songs, all together. Just how we doing. Yeah, welcome. Come on in, family. We did it all together. We can enjoy it forever. Just all collect. All this beauty for my life of peace. Hey, Lisa Brown. That is one of my songs off of my album. Folks, please check out my album. I'm going to give y'all the details in one moment. Hey. 2 or 3. Together with booze. No time soon. Come on in, folks. Hey. All right. Come on, everybody get comfortable. Because we're going to talk today. All right. All right. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, man. I love you all. You know that. Truly, I appreciate you all. I love you all. And please continue to help me build the worldwide movement of peace, love, respect. True that. All right. Lisa, thank you for coming in, dear. That song was actually, I take that back. It's not on my album, although you can get to it through my YouTube channel. That song is all together. Just put in Big King Sadiq. You don't even have to go to my channel. You can just go to YouTube and put in Big King Sadiq all together. And that song will pop up. But my album is titled PLR New Paradigm. You can listen to it right off my channel or any of the popular streaming sites, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, etc., etc. But thank you for asking. I hope that you check out more of my music, and I certainly hope you like it. Thank you. Your interest and support means everything. Man, another beautiful week. As folks I see are starting to fill in. Lisa already made her wonderful presence known, announcing herself in the chat. Thank you. Please, everybody follow suit so I can acknowledge you and just say hi. Thank you for being with us today. So I'm going to allow a couple of more minutes to go by. Okay, we got Heather. Hey, my dear friend, how you doing today? Man, one of my close friends, Heather, holding it down for us in West V. Man, so glad to see you with us today. I'm allowed just a couple of more minutes. Super hug. True that. Love her. I love you all, truly. So just a couple of more minutes. Ah, yes. Love to hear that, dear. You deserve truly all of the best. You know I mean that. All right. Just a minute or two, but folks, we are talking about a subject that I'm pretty excited about. I see somebody else chiming on in. Please announce yourself in the chat the same way Lisa and Heather have, just so I can say hi and welcome you to the conversation today. Today we are going to be talking about something that I'm that touches me personally, right? So I'm pretty excited to talk about it. All of it does touch all of us, but this is something that has specific personal relevance for me. Um, but we're talking about evidences of human healing potential. All right, and what's next, right? Where are we headed with that? Man, I'm going to literally allow probably about another minute, and then I'm going to dive right in. Everybody get comfortable. If you need a snack or a little something to sip on, some water, something, some juice or something, tea, whatever on the side, whatever you need to get comfortable. Again, we got Brother Silo checking in, Tony Atlas. True indeed. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful to see Silo come on in and announce herself in the chat. Anybody else who hasn't already done so, please announce yourself in the chat just so I can say hi to you, right? And acknowledge you being in here with us right now, about to have this great conversation. Okay. So, yeah, we are talking about human healing potential, right? Evidences of human healing potential and where we're headed with that. Yes, yes. Uh, Certainly magnificent to have Heather in here and anybody else who. Well, I'm going to open it up a little bit later, but I'm sure we're going to have a lot of personal stories and like things that we can share, because this is a subject that is very relevant to all of us, right? Um, all of us throughout our lives have either personally or through someone close to us have dealt with illnesses, sometimes serious illnesses or ailments, or hardships in our health, right? And this is certainly a subject matter that I hope is going to be incredibly beneficial, right? Because I've seen and I've witnessed and I've lived through, right, um, these evidences, right? And it truly has like changed my life. It's been part of what my life changing has been. Certainly my changes in health. All right, so let's get right into it. Once again, folks, this is an adult forum. It's a little bit different than the channel, right? On the channel, certainly open to all ages. And all the videos, there are 500 videos there for you to comb through, folks. 500 videos. Certainly that applies to all those videos that they're for all ages, right? Just given the fact that this is a live environment, and we're certainly not going to be monitoring or censoring anyone, right? It's just certainly prudent for us to have an adult forum, because we're free to say what we want. And again, there's no censorship, right? So let's just let it fly and make sure that we are giving our most. So one of the things that I'm going to do is sort of create two columns on this. Okay. On one column, we're going to list just a couple of things that assert evidence of human healing potential, right? And in the other column, we'll list something that has been very powerful or proven to be very powerful in terms of us sort of impairing our own healing potential, right? Unintended. All right. Chile. Hey. All right. I see you. Chile in the chat. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you so much. Everybody who is here, welcome. I truly appreciate you being in here and giving us your love and attention and support. Man, you are magnificent, and you're making this conversation magnificent by being here. So thank you all. Truly, you have my deepest gratitude. Okay, so in the one column, in terms of evidences of human healing potential and where we've seen it go so far, right? The first thing I want to list is almost said it correctly, spontaneous remission. I just feel Heather smiling and perking up there, right? As she is a wonderful, wonderful example of what happens when when we make that truly clear and powerful connection to the creative source within, right? We have to realize that energy, yes, Heather, true indeed. We have to realize that when we make that connection, right, to the creative source within us, we are literally connecting throughout all of our cells, throughout all of our, and when I say cells, I mean the cells that make up your physical body, right? Throughout all of our molecules, our every atom, down to the subatomic level, down to the neutrino level, right? We are connecting into a literal source of unfathomably powerful energy, right? We're talking about literally our connection to the creative source from which all things spring. Okay, I don't want the profundity of this to slip by one iota. Realize we're talking about something that powerful, right? And there are evidences of it, one of which being spontaneous remission. Folks, I've spoken to doctors myself, putting on my interviewer hat, right, as I do from time to time. And I have candidly pulled a few doctors aside, and we've talked about spontaneous remission. And they have been quick to chime in, right? Not hesitant at all to acknowledge and say yes. And it's just so that you know, this opportunity has come about because I've seen quite a few instances of cancer in my family. Both of my parents were at one point diagnosed with cancer. My father actually ultimately transitioned as a result of lung cancer. My mother is a cancer survivor, right? So, you know, I have been in this environment, right? And I have gone through like the litany of emotional swings that you can go in those struggles. So I know how powerful of a subject this is for so many of us, especially in this country, as cancer remains to be one of the most prolific and one of the most harmful, or one of the highest killers, unfortunately, in our population, different forms of cancer. And we've even seen a rash of sort of unforeseen cancer cases, or cancer cases with no real preliminary warning pop up as of late, but that's something I'm going to touch on later, because that kind of goes into another subject, but it is relevant here. So in the United States, excuse me, we are all too familiar with the C word, right? But when I pulled doctors aside, they were quick to jump in and tell me, listen, we have seen, I have seen, right? I've heard, I won't say any names, of course, but I've heard doctors say to me, listen, I have seen numerous patients that we have an outlook for that is bleak, right? And there's not much hope. I've even seen this in stage 4 cancer patients, where they are at some point going through remission with no real medical reasoning or background as to why that would happen in that particular scenario that looks to be a typical death sentence, right? These folks are able to go into, or their cancer goes into remission without any, not saying that there's no doctors performing medical aid on them, or that they're not receiving any medical treatment, but that doctors have acknowledged that it was not the medical treatment that brought about the remission, right? The course of the medical treatment given to the patient would have ultimately resulted, in many cases, in their demise, right? Albeit the doctors attempting everything they could to prolong their life, or to stave off their ultimate death. That's in most cases what the outlook would be, right? But without any viable medical explanation, they can recount, and have recounted, several stories to me of patients that have all of a sudden, and that's the other part of it, folks. They are certain to stress to me. Okay, I do want to shout out a couple folks I seen join us. We got Deanne from the channel Connecting the Dots, my dear friend, in the house, right? Conversing with us. Thank you. And it's Karma. There is no late. You're here, so you're making this more great. Thank you so much, right? I appreciate everybody that is joining in this conversation. So, yeah, folks, spontaneous remission is certainly a very clear example of our power to reach past the limitations of contemporary medicine and start to exercise, or connect to, or draw healing power from that, so that creative source of strength within us. Again, it is that connection that is so incredibly powerful, right? However we make that connection is an individual thing, folks. I always say it doesn't matter what your belief system is. It doesn't matter what your terminology is. What matters truly is your sincerity and where you are in your heart. If you cry out to your creator, by whatever name you call your higher power, truly with your heart and deepest sincerity, you start to go to a place emotionally. This is a natural human reaction. When you are truly making connection, will feel yourself go to a place emotionally that you will start to really be profoundly affected, and you'll feel that energy in some form or another, right? Really start to manifest itself in your body, in your consciousness, and in your human experience at that moment, right? Okay. Another thing I want to list, and we see a couple more folks jumping in. Please, anybody who hasn't already done so, feel free to announce yourself in the chat so I can say hi to you, right? And acknowledge you, because we certainly appreciate your presence, and you enhance this conversation that much more. Thank you. I love you as well. Come on in. True indeed. So, spontaneous remission, very powerful. Again, think about that, folks, for a second, the profundity of that. I just got finished stating that cancer remains, along with heart disease and different ailments stemming from smoking, right? Remains on that list of the top killers, unfortunately, right? Of human beings, certainly in this country, if not worldwide, right? And right along in that, I'm able to just a couple sentences later say that by us tapping into what is already within us, right, through a connection to the Creator, right, that is profound and manifests itself in every cell, cell of our body, down to our every molecule, every atom, even the subatomic level at the neutrino level. Folks, there have been scientific evidences, experimental evidences that have shown the existence of multi-dimensional energy. Okay? Now, we've seen that. We've seen that come into play in very profound ways of spontaneous remission, right? And like I stated earlier, doctors have truly borne witness to this. Not just the doctors I've spoken to, but I mean, you can like just search for it and you'll find plenty of sort of testimonials that doctors have given and their patients as well. Let's see. Okay, so we understand the profundity of that. I don't want that to be like drop down at all. I mean, you're talking about one of the most powerful or most feared, if fear was certainly, we can acknowledge that fear was a major part of our old paradigm, right? And the C word certainly associated with it, right? In relevance to fears associated with our health. And that now to say and to acknowledge that human beings have and have always had the ability to naturally go past the restraints or limitations of contemporary medicine and heal ourselves of one of the most fearful enemies to our health. That's powerful, folks. Let that not be understated. That's powerful. Another example that I want to bring up is the placebo effect. One of my favorites, because I also as well, and got some very interesting responses back from those who've proved willing to discuss it. Some that very as well. I'll offer up my opinion as to why. Well, I'll tell you my opinion. I would say is because of their ties to the pharmaceutical industry and the way that they are taught. And there have been other doctors who've come out and essentially reiterated this, or I'm actually probably paraphrasing a point that I've heard these other doctors make, that they are essentially trained to be pill pushers, right? They're not trained to heal you. They're trained to recognize symptomology. And once they have itemized and sort of identified your symptoms by grouping your symptoms and aligning them with an ailment or diagnosis that has an attached prescription or an attached pharmaceutical remedy. Okay, so when you're talking about the placebo effect, and I'm going to go into what that is, it's not in line with that whole methodology of training, right? Because some may ask, who may not know, what is the placebo effect? The placebo effect is one that is witnessed when medical professionals enter into the practice of administering for a specific ailment or health condition a specific medical remedy and or pharmaceutical treatment, right? When they give you a drug or a pill for something that you are having symptoms of, or complaining of, right? Or complaining of some health ailment. All right. When they give you the pill, and they do this to a group of individuals, right? Often study groups are from range between 10 and 100 individuals, sometimes moving into the thousands, okay? The placebo effect is when you are given that pill and part of the group, let's say, just to throw out an even number, 100. Let's say there's 100 people. 50 of those people will be given the prescribed medication for the ailment, and the other 50 will be given a placebo, which is essentially a pill or a sort of look-alike pill that does not have the prescribed medication in it. It is nothing more than what you might amount to a sugar pill or something that literally has no medical potency. Okay? No medical potency. Now, when those two were given to the 100 patients, doctors later do categorization of the patient's results, and they see that in cataloging those results, generally, all of the patients report about the same progress. Generally, if it's an effective medical treatment, they all report medical healing, or rather, they report an alleviation of the medical ailment. That means, just to clearly put it, you could give somebody a sugar pill, give another person the medication, and both of them come back to you and say, I feel great. This medication really did the job. Well, wait a minute. One of you never actually got the medication. So if you didn't get the medication, like 50 of that group of 100, yet still report the same progress in terms of alleviation of the symptoms or an alleviation of the medical ailment, then what was the catalyst for the healing? Was it the pill, right? Or was it the human being? If it was the pill, as contemporary, specifically pharmaceutical science would suggest, then the only patients who should have reported healing would be those patients who actually took the prescribed medication. If we see that those patients who did not take the prescribed medication still report the same healing or the same alleviation of the medical ailment or the same symptoms be relieved without the medication, then folks, we have only one conclusion left, which is the same conclusion that medical professionals are forced to come to, which is that the healing, the catalyst for the healing, is not the medication. It is the human beings themselves. Moreover, the consciousness of the human being that has shifted to a high vibrational frequency of healing. And that is what was the turn on switch or the catalyst that prompted the actual healing, not the medication itself. This is why you have to actually go and do research into results on placebo effects. They don't advertise them all that readily. It's not hidden, but it's there. That you have to research it, right? Because it proves that you have the power to heal yourself. Folks, do you know there are actually spontaneous, and there are surgeons who have come on to acknowledge this and confirm this. There are actual placebo surgeries. Did you know that? You literally have people where you can have, let's say, 10 patients. All 10 are going in for a surgery for the same ailment. And all 10 are told they're going to have this specific surgery to relieve the medical condition that they're seeking aid for. And when they come out of surgery and are checked back with, the doctor or the surgeon, they report generally about the same progress, right? For successful surgeries or surgeries that have proven to be successful in relieving the ailment, we find that those folks, and here's the kicker, not all 10 get the actual surgery. 5 of them get the same incision as everyone else, but it essentially just gets stitched back up, and they just lay there on the table under anesthesia, and they're woke up and told that they had a successful surgery just like everyone else. Why would doctors do this if they not have been experiencing this phenomenon, right? And more importantly, what do they report? They report the same thing, folks, as the medical placebo effect, as the pharmaceutical placebo effect. They report that the folks who thought they had the surgery experienced the same level of relief or healing as the folks who actually had the surgery. What does that tell you? The power to heal yourself is within you and is profound and powerful. This is medically proven, scientifically proven, pharmaceutically proven. Folks, don't take my word for it. As with all things, do the research for yourself and you'll see it, right? Please. Okay. On the other side of that, just to show you how powerful your consciousness is in being the actual switch to turn on and off your healing power. Folks, we've all heard of hypochondriacs. For those who may not know, a hypochondriac is someone who focuses so much on a specific illness or the potential of catching a certain ailment or disease or something of that nature, that they become sort of paranoid about it, and they really adopt the actual experience into their psyche before they're even diagnosed, right? And what we find with these folks is all the things that they're constantly taking precautions for or constantly fearful of getting, they get. It is even medically recorded that hypochondriacs in similar experimental settings will acquire or get a contagious disease or a specific medical ailment more frequently, have more frequent instance of acquiring that or catching that disease or whatever it is that they're fearful of. It will happen with them more frequently than in folks who are not living such a fearful existence or not constantly taking paranoid precautions in order to fight off something that really they have no reason to believe they would ever get in the first place. All right. That's powerful, folks, because it suggests the same thing that the placebo effect, that the placebo surgery, that spontaneous remission, that all those things suggest, just in the opposite direction. Here, instead of a person's consciousness directing them to healing, it has literally directed them to harming themselves. They've attracted the disease or the ailment. Now, you might say to yourself, how could that be, Big King Sadiq? Right? How can your actual consciousness attract an ailment, a health trauma, or some form of a spontaneous disease, or not spontaneous, a contagious, excuse me, a contagious disease or something that this person may be actually rising to the level of paranoia about contracting, right? Because, folks, we have to understand it is scientifically and medically proven through experimental evidence, right, that everything in existence vibrates at a specific frequency. Frequency simply refers to the amount of times that something vibrates within a specific measurable time frame, right? And it is typically measured in hertz. All right. Vibrational frequency is typically measured in hertz, and that's certainly applicable to this to these scientific experiments that I'm referring to. Okay. Not only do we need to cognize that about ourselves and our physical bodies, that we are always vibrating at a specific frequency, right? But we need to understand and cognize the fact that the specific medical ailments or the diseases that the hypochondriacs would be fearful of actually vibrate at their own specific vibrational frequency. Folks, when I say everything in existence, I literally mean everything in existence. This wood vibrating, though it looks like it is an inanimate object that is completely still and at rest, if we were able to observe its actual molecules through a microscope, we would see there is vibration, right? And there's certainly other scientific tests that would reveal vibrational frequency. Again, this is all measured in hertz. Vibrational frequency is not only scientifically observable, but again, folks, measurable in hertz. So recognize that the disease has its own frequency. Typically, disease resides in the lower vibrational frequency thresholds. All right? The human body is tunable to vibrational frequency at the cellular level, down again to the molecular, to the atomic, and even subatomic level, right? Everything in existence without exception vibrates at a specific frequency. I'm going to jump in the chat and acknowledge. I'm not ignoring you folks. I'm certainly going to acknowledge once again in the chat in just one moment, because I see we're starting to get some good input and I want to start this conversation opened up. So again, everything is at its own vibrational frequency. If the human being's body, which is tunable, folks, you might ask, how is it tunable, Big King Sadiq? First of all, you literally have a tuning mechanism in your body that operates and serves a very similar purpose or function, should I say, as in the tuning dial on a radio. What is that? I'm referring to your pineal in your brain. I refer to it and recognize and acknowledge it as the pineal organ. Most call it the pineal gland, right? Your pineal literally has the ability to alter and set to sort of tune your vibrational frequency. How can you affect or direct your pineal to do so? It is done through the consciousness connection between you and all of your organs in your physical body, certainly down to every cell, molecule, atom, and neutrino, right? This is your body. You have ownership and connectivity to all of it, okay? And I even referred to in previous videos about the smart body connection, sort of that we refer to as the innate system, right? There is literal electromagnetic connectivity, intelligence, and communication throughout all of your body. Your consciousness can direct your pineal, does direct your pineal, should I say, as to how to tune or what frequency to tune your physical body to. Yet another reason why it is very important for us to do everything we can to decalcify our pineal organs. Just so you know, to throw out there quickly, coffee, anything with any drink with caffeine in it, tea actually can be very high in caffeine. Caffeine, any narcotics, right? Drugs, quote unquote street drugs, right? Cocaine, other stimulants of that nature, even depressants, right? Like heroin and so forth. These all can severely hamper the function of your pineal organ. Even some of the ingredients in cigarettes truly hampers the function and calcifies your pineal organ, right? So that's very important. There are some things that you can do to start to decalcify your pineal. There's foods like organic bananas, organic onions that you could start to take in. avocados and other of the superfoods help in decalcification of your pineal. All right. I do have specific videos on that in the channel you can go back and refer to. Okay. So again, folks, we have the equipment. We have all the equipment to do the work, right? You just have to take control of your consciousness to direct that. Now, before I open this up in the conversation and we start to talk about give our own stories and examples of this and start to let our minds go to where we're headed with our wonderful power of healing, the more and more we get in touch with it, right? I do want to share with you all quickly. Personally, I was diagnosed with, excuse me, when you're looking at the camera, you got that reverse, so you got to get your sides together. All right. But personally, I was diagnosed with several things that I was given that I was prescribed also medication for. Some of these medications I was told I would have to be on for the rest of my life. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, hypertension or high blood pressure, diabetes, severe back pain, and chronic gum disease. Okay. All of which I was given not only was I prescribed medication, but I was given a prognosis of, or an outlook, a medical outlook that was fairly bleak, right? And that, you know, quite frankly, folks, if you listen to the doctors, I was in bad shape, and you might even say on the way up and out of here, right? But through drastic changes to my diet, drastic changes to my lifestyle, and ultimately drastic changes to my consciousness, right? In elevating my vibrational frequency, I have beat all 5 of those things without taking any of the prescribed medication. Okay. I've even been re-examined and had some head scratching moments with some with some medical professionals, right? But yeah, I don't take any of the medications. In fact, one of the things I was prescribed with this for my chronic gum disease was this. I can't say the brand, of course, of medicated fluoride toothpaste. Folks, this toothpaste, yeah, it dulled and dumbed down or sort of put my nerve endings to sleep to sort of dull the pain sensation, right? But it created an addiction to my gums, a little physical addiction. And it was actually simultaneously worsening my condition. I had times I would wake up the next day. Not trying to gross anyone out, certainly, please don't take this wrong, but I would have to like spit out blood clots from my mouth bleeding all night. Like I'd wake up choking on blood, right? From my gums just bleeding and being in pain all night. It had gotten that bad. I stopped taking what I was prescribed. I stopped any fluoride toothpaste. And again, other vast changes to my diet, my lifestyle, my psyche, my overall vibrational frequency existence, right? And now I averted all that. They told me years ago, they told me like 8 years ago, that within a matter of months, right, that all these teeth I keep flashing at y'all would be gone, all of them. And they stated that there would be a painful process and that it would be better to just remove all of my teeth virtually. Folks, I'm not joking when I say that to you. These dentists literally wanted to extract all of my teeth. They wanted to do it 9 teeth at a time. So I'm just telling you, this is where they were at. But yeah, I beat that and everything else. And I didn't take not one pill, get not one injection, right? I beat all of that. And I just wanted to offer up that personal testimonial, so to speak, of how our healing power can be profound, powerful, and we can manifest it in our lives, right? Okay, I want to open this up to everybody else, all you wonderful folks. I went a little bit longer myself. Please be patient with me. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't bore y'all, right? But this is a profound subject again for me, and I really want to hear what I can about all of y'all. Thank you so much. I'm going to get caught up here with the folks chat and see. Okay, Heather Tokas. I tried the placebo effect with this horrible flood we just endured. Okay, then Heather goes on to say, I picked up everything off floor in my imagination and had a very calming and strange peace about it. The flood came to all streets around me, river crested at 41.9 feet. Whoa, I'm glad you are all right, Heather. 43 feet would have put you in the river. Oh, put the river in. Whoa. All right. Powerful. Powerful, and tapping into the creative source within her and making application into her life, and the elements, right, and impacting that. That's powerful. So would have put the river in the building. Just 1.1 feet more, I would have had a disaster. That is such an encouraging testimony. Thank you. Thank you. If you, Isha, shout out to you coming in. Thank you so much for jumping in and announcing yourself. Welcome, my dear daughter. And please give us, we're talking about evidences of human healing potential, right? And I made a couple of columns, right, and started to talk about spontaneous remission and the placebo effect and even placebo surgeries in the column of evidences of human healing potential and how we can heal ourselves beyond the limitations and parameters of contemporary medicine. And in the other column, I listed like what hypochondriacs go through and how, they actually can bring disease or contagious ailments or different medical ailments into their lives by first bringing them into their psyche and adopting them through their consciousness. And they don't realize that what they're doing is adjusting their vibrational frequency to match the disease or ailment. And what we don't realize when we're healing ourselves on a conscious level, in many cases, folks, in like the spontaneous remission, the placebo effect that saw the same healing as those who took the medication or who had the surgery. What we don't realize is that when we bring our body's vibrational frequency in alignment with healing and move it away from the vibrational frequency of the disease, the medical ailment, or whatever medical condition it is that we're fighting or struggling against, that when we bring ourselves in alignment with the vibrational frequency of healing, we are able to do so. The evidence is in. Don't take my word for it. Do the independent, free thinking research, and you see it for yourselves. But thank you so much. So yeah, that just to catch you up, Isha, and anyone else who may have just came in. That's what we're talking about. That we are powerful in healing ourselves. I also shared the 5 medical ailments that I was diagnosed with and able to overcome through a drastic change in my diet, my psyche, my vibrational frequency truly adjusted through decalcifying my pineal organ and living a much more high vibrational frequency existence. Folks, our consciousness, first of all, is a major player in physics. This is also scientifically evidenced, right? To touch on a different and very powerful application like what Heather was referring to. So, as it is a major player in physics, our physical bodies are no exception to that. Okay? Understand that. Your consciousness is king and queen, queen and king, right? Consciousness rules this physical plane. That is something that is so powerful, so profound that most people really aren't able to grasp it. They don't believe that our consciousness can affect our physical reality at all. But there's evidence of it, right? It's just a matter of them discovering that evidence and cognizing it, really taking it in that there is all of the tools here and all of the ability for us to heal ourselves in some incredible and profound ways, right? And I encourage all of you to do your own free thinking and independent research into that, and you'll see the myriad of stories that are there for you to discover. All right. Anybody else? Brother Silo, if you're still with us. Who else did we have in here? Let's see. Lisa Brown hanging with us strong from get-go. If you're still in here with us. Anybody, everybody, please chime in. I really Chile. I need to know what you folks think about this. Do you have any stories you want to share? Heather, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have any other stories, particularly about your healing that you'd like to share, please excuse me if you feel like I'm putting you on the spot. But I was just so personally encouraged by what you've told me, and would like to I think others would be as well. But again, I forgive me, I don't want to put you on the spot. I do want to point out, folks, in my first book, there's a very inspirational story that is a true story about Miss Shar, right? I'll let you read the book and check out that story, but it's very powerful and profound story regarding beating cancer. But okay. Anybody have anything, a comment, question, statement, situation, or scenario? Certainly any stories that you want to share relevant to our power in healing, or even the opposite, right? Because we've talked about we're powerful both ways. We can convince ourselves to heal, or we can bring poor health to ourselves, right? Your consciousness literally dictates this. So anyone who would have any stories that you want to share along those lines, please feel free to chime in and share that right now. I would love to hear it. Okay, cool, wonderful, Heather. So yeah, please share anything relevant to that with us. And I would love to hear it. True indeed. Um, I don't know, man. It's something about hearing, I guess it's just our level of being able to relate to one another, right? That when you hear someone else or someone else's story exhibiting this, it really draws up the power in you. And you're like, wait a minute, I know that person, or, you know, this person is just like me, right? And if they were able to pull that off, then I have that potential as well. And I think that's something that needs to happen throughout humanity, folks. We need to recognize. I mean, there are so many things, and I could even go out of the realm of healing and start to talk about, other things that I see people have the ability to do. You know, for me personally, excuse me, if I see another human being, even one out of all these near 8 billion folks that we have on the planet, if I see another human being exhibit a certain ability or have the ability to contradict something that we believed about ourselves as a limitation, if they're able to push past that, or if they're able to exhibit the ability to do something that we um, commonly didn't think was possible, I then know within myself, I don't believe, I know within myself that it's possible. That's just the way I'm wired, specifically now, right? If I see anything that another human being is able to do, I automatically say, oh, I can do that too. I have that potential too, right? And I think personally, I believe that's something that all of humanity really needs to embrace right now, because there are some wonderful and incredibly inspiring stories out there, right? That if we can see in other people um, something that we can ultimately start to see within ourselves as an ability to do more or be more or overcome something that was believed to not previously be possible, then that's powerful, folks. And I really would love to see that more and more widespread throughout humanity. Getting back to Heather. I had to do soul searching to understand why my cancer came to me. Once I was still and heard the reason, then I started healing right away. Wow. Wow. Wow, folks, do you understand how powerful that is? She's telling us that she had to cognize, and for just to reiterate what that means, getting to a place of understanding that is beyond the requisite for 3D, 4D physical proof, right? Not that there is no physical proof, that you understand and believe it beyond the requisite of such proof. Okay. Um, Folks, once you get to the point like she has, where you can cognize that, she's telling you that she literally adjusted her psyche, adjusted her consciousness to a point that it turned on the switch to her healing power, and she started to heal right away. If that doesn't inspire you, I just don't know what will. I mean, that is super exciting to me. That power resting within us, all of us. Thank you, Heather. She goes on to say, illnesses are a gift and are there to teach us. It says teach up something, okay? She may mean up or teach us something. And when the message is received, the illness do not need uh excuse me, the illness do not need to hang around. It goes. It has served its purpose, stopped us. Oh, that's powerful. Okay, Heather, you're getting deep on us, huh? Thank you. She is, I think, just brought up an incredible point. I totally wholeheartedly agree with. Got our attention. Okay, so let me just read her comments so you can. I was grasping it like along the way, but so it says, I had to do soul searching to understand why my cancer came to me. Once once I did, excuse me, once I was still and heard, and she put quotations around that because you she's saying she really grasped it, right? She heard the reason. Then I started healing right away. Illnesses are a gift and are there to teach us something. And when the message is received, the illness does not need to hang around. It goes. It served its purpose. It stopped us, got our attention, and then leaves. It is that simple. Yes, beyond understanding. Thank you. Thank you. And then I see Lisa jump back in. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Lisa. That was so powerful. Thank you, Heather. Man, this is what I'm talking about, folks. How can we not get excited about actual evidence that it is within us to heal things that we have been taught by this fear society that we have no power to overcome? That we're simply at the mercy of whatever medical professional's aid we seek out, and whatever their prognosis or their medical outlook is, that is the limitation of what our life is. That's not the case, folks. That is not the case. Healing, the power to heal is within you. And I'm talking about healing beyond the parameters and limitations of contemporary medicine. Yes, Lisa, thank you. Heather comes back and says, my oncologist retired, but my new one heard about this miracle girl. Yes, you are. And couldn't wait to meet me and hear my story from me. It was very humbling. I left there crying because the new doctor was in. Wow. Woo! Powerful. Powerful. Let me high five you. Uh, uh, True indeed. I salute you. I ain't sure about that symbolization. I gotta watch that salute. Okay, but I do salute you. And then Lisa comes back in and says, "I have been afraid to walk down the hill with my." Okay, she's getting ready to say something, but whatever you're afraid of, we're here to combat that, right? We got you back, Lisa. True indeed. Heather comes in to say, "Such awe." No lump lump lumpectomy, excuse me, folks, no mastectomy. Cancer was in my bones. Wow. Listen, folks, cancer was in my bones, liver, and lymph nodes. It has been 9 years now. No medications after the first year. PET scans every 3 months. Do you hear this, folks? Do you hear this? Man, yes, that is powerful. That's you, all of us. That's the human being, the new human. Lisa, I can complete her statement. So I have been afraid to walk down the hill with my dog because I felt short of breath. But I walked up and down the hill today and I was fine. Yeah. And I was fine. Um, I did it because an 80-year-old lady told me how active she was. Yes. Yes. Folks, one of my dear friends, she's same age as my mother, 75 years old, right around the corner, right? I ain't gonna put her name on blast, but she gets around just as active, and sometimes I catch her moving, walking around here faster than me. Huh? That's the kind of inspiration to push us to realize we're not weak. We are not subject to just weaken, to get older, weaken, and die off as someone else prescribes to us, huh? Or as society teaches us we are limited to. We are not limited, huh? That power is within you. You are an expression of the creative energy that created all of this. You are an individual expression of our Creator's energy, beautiful and magnificent without limitation. You need to know that. I celebrate you. Look in the mirror and celebrate yourselves. True that. Heather, yes, thank you. Much love to all. We love you, Heather, and we thank you so much, truly, for sharing all that. I mean, that's powerful. Mavi, peace, love, respect. Welcome, wonderful to have you with us. Always engaging and enhancing the conversation as you have been from the very start. Thank you, truly. Heather jumps in, more spelling, sorry. Oh, don't trip. Lisa, very inspirational. This has been great. Thank you, Lisa. We're glad that it has meant something to you. You have been great being here with us. Heather, good for you, Lisa. True that. Always, yes, y'all talk to each other, support each other. We are forming a forum, a family on this podcast, right? We're creating an environment where we're sharing powerful things for and with one another and loving one another unconditionally, catapulting us all further forward to our new high vibrational frequency paradigm, the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Man, don't get me, y'all get me excited up in here. It's hard to stay sitting down. Man, I love you all. Thank you so much. Thanks, Heather. Marv in here. Peace, love, respect, everybody. Be encouraged. Yes, true that. LOL. Let's go. Yes, folks, our diets. I can't express to you enough. As I shared earlier in the conversation, Marv, I was talking about the 5 medical ailments that I was prescribed medication for, some of which I was told I'd have to take my entire life, right? And I talked about how I defeated all that without any medications, right? And then Heather came in and gave her powerful story of how she overcame these cancers, and we've been talking about spontaneous remission and been talking about the placebo effect pharmaceutically and even in surgeries. We've been talking about hypochondriacs and our actual power to damper or harm our health if we go to that frequency, right? We've been acknowledging that our consciousness is king and queen and king, right? Thank you so much. But yeah, your diet is a huge part of this. It certainly was for me. And still continues to be. Folks, we are what we eat, right? I even spoke a little bit, I forget which episode it was, but I remember, about how we actually take on layers of our body that reflect our experiential existence, right? Because we eat through these things, and we have so many mental states and emotional states, even physical states, that prompt us to eat. So our physical body becomes intertwined with what we're eating, and all of that forms literal physical layers on us. We are literally what we eat. So if you want to be your optimum health, um, do your best to let that reflect in your diet. I am not saying that everyone has to be like me and not eat meat or anything that I do or anyone else does for that matter. Ultimately, your higher self will chime into your consciousness and direct you in what is best or right for you in your diet. Um, but you should be conscious through your eating process of what you're putting in your body, what it is actually made of, and how that will impact you. Okay. Um, Deanne, way to go, Heather. True that. Yes, we can't give you enough salutes and acknowledgments, and high fives and celebrations, man, and honoring, because that is profound and powerful. You have encouraged us all, right? You have inspired us all. We are inspired by all of this. I feel like we all are resting in a very encouraged and inspired place. And I feel that we should, right? Because all of us at some point have had something we at least may have been concerned about relative to our health, right? And to have that empowerment to know that your consciousness is a major player, not only in physics, but in your health, and that you can control your own vibrational frequency, right? You can set your own vibrational frequency through the interaction of your consciousness with your physical corporeal being. That's powerful, folks. That takes us off of the sideline of the healing process and gets us involved, gets us in the game, right? I think that we're taught and had been taught previously in the fear society that we're essentially have a place only on the sideline. We can root on the doctors. We can, you know, we can rely on and trust in the medical professionals, right? But that we have no actual real role in it, and that just isn't so. We have a powerful and profound role in our own healing, and we need to understand that more and more. Folks, your consciousness is powerful beyond belief. And that power is not limited to and extends to your healing. All right. Heather goes on and states, what do you think will happen with the pending eclipse? Okay. I'm going to get into that just a little bit because that's kind of another podcast. But since there won't be another podcast before the eclipse, I will touch into that a little bit. But folks, I just want us to wrap up and count in that thought that we are empowered and should be both empowered and encouraged, inspired by what we see other human beings accomplish in terms of healing themselves, right? Let that inform your psyche, your subconscious. Let that put your entire physical, corporeal being on notice. Hey, listen, there's other human beings doing this. There's no reason why I can as well, right? Heather goes in, my goal is losing 80 pounds. I've been eating less and home prepped meals and mostly veggies. I'm down 5 or so. LOL, probably just water weight. Well, whatever weight it is, You took action that resulted in that. Continue to take action, continue to encourage and believe in yourself, and rest in your power. And there's no limit to what you'll see next, right? If you set that goal 80 pounds, guess what you're about to hit? Believe it, cognize it, and manifest it. Live it. You certainly deserve it. We all do. So let's have it. Huh? Let's have it. True that. True that. Yes, thank you, Deanne, for encouraging Heather and us all. Again, we got to continue to encourage one another and be there for one another. I love that. Y'all know I love that. Get Big King Sadiq hug up in there one time. But yeah, folks, let's really do that. Now, having said that, and giving a little bit of recognition to this eclipse, because I believe it does tie in, right? Because folks, one of the things, here's a direct connection. One of the things that is being suggested may be a potential for this eclipse is that the internet will be severely interrupted, and that we could even lose connectivity for a certain span of time, maybe even potentially a couple of days, right? And I think that, and there's been suggested that there may also be even more electromagnetic sort of responses to this eclipse. I want you to all keep in mind that you are all electromagnetic beings with your spiritual selves, huh? Inside a physical, corporeal being or cell or body or mechanism or however you want to phrase it. But there is active within you all sorts of energies, and powerful electromagnetism being one of them. So believe that just as this eclipse shall profoundly affect electromagnetism on the planet, it only makes sense that it would affect us as well. Here's what I'm going to say. Let it affect you. In fact, make sure that it affects you in the right way or in a beneficial, positive way. How do you do that, Big King? What did I just say not long ago was a most powerful player in physics? Your consciousness. Your consciousness is queen and king. Your consciousness is king and queen. Your consciousness is powerful in this entire realm of 3D, 4D existence. And you can use it. You should use it to steer your vibrational frequency, to set your vibrational frequency. You should use the physical tools you have, like your pineal, to set your vibrational frequency at a high vibrational frequency resonance. As you do so, you direct the effects, any effects, upon your electromagnetic existence. And thus, you harness any benefit that there is to be had from this eclipse. And you can utilize that certainly to aid in your healing as well. All right. I'm going to jump back in. Deanne states, I think the eclipse will elevate many of us. I agree, Deanne. We may get our superpowers activated. Would not be an electromagnetic change. I'm not going to say how far anything goes. But folks, you do need to understand, it is already known And you can certainly refer back to the indigenous peoples around the planet who will readily give you stories of this, that human beings did previously exist in a higher state, that telepathy was widespread on the planet, that telekinesis was widespread, and other things that we do not currently exhibit but have the potential for. So what she just said isn't a stretch at all. Huh? Think about that. Because we don't talk science fiction on here, folks. We talk science. And we also talk the profound source of information that we draw from and that gives us the power and the profound ability, right, to be able to determine what serves us and what does not, right? Understand your power and sit in that, rest in that. The human being is magnificent in so many ways. True that. So let me go back into what Heather was saying. So yeah, we may get our superpowers activated. There may be scary things. Please ground yourself. Heather excuse me, Deanne. Excuse me, my friends. I don't want to get y'all confused. Deanne goes on to say, we are electromagnetic. That's why the grounding can be so powerful. Yes, folks. Heather jumps in and also states, yes, I am super excited about it. I'm already energized. Yeah, ladies, I've been feeling it myself. True indeed. Deanne also goes on to say, if it gets scary, turn to God. Okay. Yes, folks. Not only with that, but with any of this that we may experience, experiences that you have with other people who may be suffering even through low vibrational frequency expressions or going through the process of diffusing and getting those low vibrational frequency expressions out of them, right? Often when we see these things exhibited in people, it is them purging themselves of the low vibrational frequencies. Folks, you got to get it up. It must rise up in you in order to get it out of you. Think, not being vulgar, but think about how when you vomit, right? When you've taken something that is upsetting your stomach to that degree, that is upsetting your physiology to that degree, your body purges itself, literally brings it up and out. The same thing with negative low vibrational frequencies. So you could experience that in people. Perhaps it could even be heightened by this eclipse. I don't know. But no matter what it is you see, she exactly has given you the right prescription. Turn to your higher power, God, the creator, however you want to state it. You have to reestablish or reaffirm. You have to better solidify, I would recommend, your connection with the creative source in you. Folks, first of all, you got to just know with common sense, with spiritual common sense, there is nowhere that the creator is not. Right? That includes in you. Make the connection. Trust wholeheartedly in your creator. We'd be here all day for me to go through my life and list the times when I have trusted in the creator and it got me through, or even when I was just saved from situations. Okay, folks, just to throw this out there real quick, right? Those of you who don't know me, and I sometimes have spoken about how I've lived a very different life and how my life has been very different very, very early on in my life. I once had a sawed-off shotgun pointed directly in my face, and that person pulled the trigger and it didn't go off. How Jay-Z saying this one song, divine intervention. I'm just telling you, folks, know that your creator, I believe you all know that your creator is real, but know that that connection is real. All right? And anytime you feel shaken in your reality, or if anything makes you question your reality or makes you question yourself, always turn to the creator. Always. And you will never be let down as long as you do so with sincerity, right? You will never be let down. And I can say that with the utmost confidence because I've lived it. Huh? I've lived it. All right. Okay. So getting back into where I left off in her comments. So yeah, Heather comes in and says, "Yes, I am super excited about it. I'm already energized. I am as well." Deanne also comes in and says, "If it gets scary, turn to God. Truly, that was the right thing to advise everyone else of." Thank you so much, Deanne. And Mavi chimes in. Stay balanced in the push and pull of your endeavors. Yes, much of this is about the push and pull, folks. We need to understand that our energy operates that way in a push pull scenario, right? That is what they're referring to when they talk about the weak and the strong energy, right? Um, it is very, very important that we understand how energetic changes work and how that intertwines with our physiology, folks. I've spoken before about our auric bodies or our energetic bodies, the layers of um, our biosphere that extend electromagnetically beyond us. Right? Know that the electromagnetic changes, the push pull of the energies that may happen during this eclipse, right, will at some on some level and at some point be felt by you because they will be interactive with your biosphere, right? Again, attuning yourself to a high vibrational frequency resonance will ensure that you can utilize all of that energetic change to your benefit. And one of the best ways to tune yourself to the highest vibrational frequency is by turning toward your connection with the creator and using that to influence your consciousness, which will in turn aid you and enable you to tune your physical body to the highest vibrational frequency that you can, right? Um, yes, true indeed. Stay balanced in the push and pull of your endeavors. Rest deeply, create space to acknowledge what may not be working. Uh, what may not be working to adjust moving forward. Sorry about that, Mavi. Um, but get y'all rest as we stretch wide. Yes, indeed. I'm going to read that again. Mavi stated, stay balanced in the push and pull of your endeavors. Rest deeply. Create space to acknowledge what may not be working to adjust moving forward. But get y'all rest as we stretch wide. Yes. Thank you, Mavi. More, see, you see how this works. I love it. You see the form we've created, the family we've created, where we're advising each other, where we're learning from each other, where we're growing and building off of each other. Excellent extension of advice to give to folks, Mavi. True that, because we are moving forward in our experiential and our human experience and the changes that we want to make moving forward as we manifest what we want to see our lives be and become are profound and can be profound in their impact if we allow them to be by attuning our consciousness to a high vibrational frequency resonance that enables us to benefit most from that push pull, that energetic push and pull, right? That is powerful. Deanne says, yes, Malv, true indeed. Um, and true indeed, they're getting at each other. See, man, connect up. That's what I'm talking about. We family, folks, and let's be that and continue to build in that way. Fear not. Folks, that is the last thing. In fact, it's no thing. I don't want any of you to feel fear. Please don't. Please know that change is both needed on this planet. We can see that part pretty easily. And is here now. And that what we're changing to is not something negative, right? It's not something dark or gloomy. We're not heading into that dystopian nightmare of an existence that the socially economic elite wanted to paint the picture of us moving into, right? We're moving forward into the high vibrational frequency paradigm that we were always naturally evolving to. Huh? We were always headed in this direction, folks. It was just a matter of whether or not we would survive killing ourselves right off, if we would be able to survive to get to this point in the galaxy where we would experience. And when I say in the galaxy, I'm referring to our solar system's orbit around the center of the galaxy. And when we would get to this point where these energies would enhance us, right? Where these energies would foster an evolution in consciousness, where these energies would benefit us in profound ways that we even have yet to experience, but will be beginning to, right? This is a powerful time in humanity's evolution. We cannot misstate that or understate that. We need to make that be profound and make that resonate in our minds to understand that this is it. We actually are part of the generation that's going to evolve for humanity. It's powerful. The Hopi Indians have stated that this is both the most difficult and the most profound time on the planet for human beings to live, right? It's difficult and the change is difficult. Remember, I talked about how in order for human beings to spew out or diffuse or get rid of the negative low vibrational frequency thoughts, energies, tendencies, or whatever that may be lurking or lingering within you, that you first have to go through the process of bringing that out, bringing it up before you could spew it out, just like vomiting. Again, not to be vulgar, but it is a similar process, very much so. So we may see humanity on a whole do that. It may be highlighted during the eclipse. Do not be fearful of anything that you see or experience. Trust in the Creator, and then start to let that make your experience more beautiful, right? All right. Going back to Marv, don't react, but acknowledge so that you can create the best response for yourself. True indeed. ASE. Yeah, I got to ask that too. Connected it up. What is ASE? And then DN also says, do envision the best outcome. That is the one thing that I want everyone to do. Hold it within yourselves. Folks, allow your minds to see yourself beginning, a new day, a wonderful new stage or season of your life that you're walking into as you walk out of the eclipse. Huh? True that. Mavi, mean, okay, and ASC signifies something as certain, valid, or truthful. All right. Or so be it. Okay, Mavi, true that. Okay, Deanne states, um, this may appear to be a battle. Fear not. We already won. God wins. True that, folks. You may feel like you're in a battle, right? You may feel a deep and profound struggle within yourself, right? Know that that is the change that you need to see fostered in your life moving forward, right? Um, Connected with Deanne states again, real quick, this may appear to be a battle. Fear not. We already won. God wins. Um, True indeed, folks. There is no battle in that, um, in the sense of winners and losers, right? We're winners and understand that we won when we woke up, huh? We won as we're beginning to continue to wake up as humanity. All together, we are waking up to a new existence, to higher consciousness on this plane of existence. Pardon me. A little bit too many extra nesses on there. NESS, right? True indeed. But yeah, this is powerful, and this may appear to be a battle. Fear not, we already won. God wins. Yes, cognize that we have won, folks. Um, we have already began to move powerfully, to surge powerfully forward into our new high vibrational frequency paradigm, one that exhibits, nay, one that exudes peace, love, respect. And we got to know that, right? Folks, I'm so excited, right? I am so encouraged. I am so invigorated in thinking about and looking to the changes that we have on our horizon, right? Folks, we're headed for change of epic proportion, right? Individually and collectively. And in doing so, we only continue to grow expansively in our consciousness all together, right? And that's a beautiful thing. All right. Deanne also goes on to state, we will create a new loving planet. Yes, true that. True that, folks. Let me bring something up. Just for anybody who may be feeling like, some of this stuff, some of the range of this may be a little far-fetched. You need to understand how profound and how wide stretching the range of this is, right? Um, Folks, we're literally talking about evolutionary changes in consciousness, and even physically, we are actually having profound evolutionary changes. I'm gonna bring something up that might kind of trip you out a little bit, right? How many of you are old enough to remember the kidney punch? I pose that as a question to everyone. How many of you are old enough to remember the previously outlawed kidney punch? Okay. It was outlawed because human beings' kidneys were acknowledged to be at one point right in the low back, right? Right below the tip of the rib cage. Now, science reports that the kidneys are located in an entirely different place in the human body. The kidneys are no longer in an area that would even be affected by what we term as the kidney punch, because kidneys are now in human beings located higher up in the physical, in the torso, in the rib cage. We have already physically evolved to the point that our kidneys, our organs, have actually moved to another place in our body. Stop me if you ain't seeing this is profound. The kidney punch doesn't even exist anymore because your kidneys are in a whole new place in your physical body. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Do your own free thinking research and see what I'm talking about. Folks, there are incredible changes already happening and indeed on the way. Huh? Get ready. Get ready, because change is here in a big way. All right. This has been a magnificent conversation. Thank you for all of you who have hung in, and some of you have hung in maybe the whole time. Thank you so much for having that endurance, for giving me personally your interest and support and helping to build what? The worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Man, thank you all so much. I love you all so much. I'm going to hold on a couple of seconds in case anybody else, or a minute or two in case anybody else has anything else they want to chime in with. Other than that, in a minute or two, I'm going to close it out. But I thank you all. I love you all truly, and I appreciate each and every wonderful moment we get to spend together. Thank you. Truly. All right. In just a couple of minutes, or a minute or two, or a few seconds, I'm gonna close it up. But this has been magnificent. Please know that I am more than pleased with the outcome and the turnout we've had today. And I thank you all so much, truly. Man, this has been wonderful, to say the least. All right. Maybe another 30 seconds, minute and a half tops, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it out, man. This has been a wonderful conversation. I'm in celebratory mode. True indeed. Oh, man, I am celebrating, and I'm grateful to have this forum, to have you all. I love you all. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Man. All right, folks. Maybe another 30 seconds to 45 seconds or so, no more than a minute, and then we're going to close it out. Unless somebody else, something else, like my man. First of all, let me go back a little bit. Thank you, Deanne, so much. We will create a new loving planet. Ma V, thank you so much, sisterin. I appreciate you. She wrote to me, I appreciate you, Sadiq. Continue spreading the light. You know I will, and thank you so much for helping me do so. I love you, and I appreciate you, truly. You know that. Tony Atlas, Brother Silo chimes in. Don't forget to exercise your pianos. Okay. Stand on your head for a few minutes. Okay. And I guess that these are different ways that we can be tuning, right? True indeed, folks. We must tune ourselves and utilize every facility, every faculty for us to be able to do that. Yes, tune your pianos. Please do. I said pianos. I know the shallow meant to tune our pianos, right? Truly, we must do that and utilize that as we get to the right frequency resonance. Since Salo chimed in, I'm going to give it another minute or two, as I've already entered into celebration mode. True indeed. Man, I'm so pleased with this uh, wonderful conversation, y'all. I love you so much, and I thank you truly. We hanging in there a little bit, so I'm gonna wait probably another minute, and and then we'll close it out if there's nothing further. Please, though, I ain't gonna rush y'all away, because this is, even though we've been in for quite a while, this has been a powerful conversation, and we share some powerful and healing things with one another. So if anybody has anything else that they'd like to share, certainly any more stories, questions, statements, comments, anything, I'm going to wait another minute or two to see if you plug that into the chat. All right. I will have to listen to the replay. A friend just called to tell me a mutual friend was found unconscious after 3 days. He's 94. He's in the hospital. Please pray. He may transition. I do want to say, I send unparalleled, unfathomably powerful healing energy to our dear friend. I truly hope that I know that it will help to whatever extent it is meant to. And whether our dear friend transitions or not, we must understand that these are our corporeal physical vehicles, our shells, our vessels, if you will, and that we have every ability to heal. And I send that beautiful energy to our dear one who needs it. So truly understand that I extend that love, and I certainly hope it helps. And that either way, it moves forward in the coming hours and days. Know that we all share in a mutual love, and that it is that love and that strength which truly emanates from the creative source that will strengthen and get us all through whatever we may be struggling to get through, and through the collective things that we are struggling to get through. And most certainly, I send that energy to our shared friend, and we want to see nothing but the best for them, whether they remain walking in this experience with us, or if we see them in another part of the journey. We know they're family and they are with us always, for sure, that they are a part of us, literally. And folks, do you know, to speak to that they have scientists, I was just reading about this in a scientific article the other day, that there is now evidence that ancestral memory, and I wish I would have brought this up earlier when everyone was in, but let's share this with anybody who's left already, that ancestral memory resides and is stored in the RNA sequences of your DNA. Scientifically proven. So what does that mean in relevance to what we're talking about? That we actually have it within us to store consciousness, that consciousness and the energy of our consciousness stores within us, that we keep it within us, that energy is profound within us. So when we send healing energy to one another, that is something that we can draw on. And also the profundity that we always are a part of each other. So if we're able to store ancestral memory in on our RNA, and that has been proven, folks, have no question and no doubt that we do not completely separate when we transition. That something of the other person always stays a literal part of us. Literally. Okay? Oh man. So we do send that. I send that actively out. That love, you want to call it a prayer, right? I send that love and that healing energy out to our dear friend. And whichever way they go forward, if they decide to stay with us a little further and understand that your higher consciousness does play a profound part in this, folks. Okay? Already knowing the entirety of our lifespan before we even incarnate. I want to throw that out there as well. So, whatever at the higher consciousness level our dear friend decides to do, they will always be with us and always be with you, Deanne. Understand that. I know you do, because you grasp all this in a very beautiful way. So we send that love and healing energy, and we send acceptance and support for whatever the beautiful outcome is. It is a beautiful outcome indeed. Right? Man, this has been magnificent. Folks, I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it again. We are growing this forum in beautiful ways that is encouraging and uplifting me. I thank you all. I couldn't thank you enough. I love you all. Truly feel that and know that that is the truth. And that I do thank you all so much. I'm going to close this out. Unless anybody got anything else, I'll even wait another couple of seconds. You can get it in still. Because it all has been so powerful and profound and worthwhile. Thank you. I'll wait just a few more seconds, and if there's nothing further, I'm going to close out. But if there is something further, don't feel like I'm pushing y'all to close out. If you got something more, we want it. Just like that was powerful with Deanne just came in with. Anything else, please share. Shout out to everybody who is healing and healing themselves profoundly, utilizing the brethren, sister and brethren, marijuana, ganja, or cannabis, right? Should have never been outlawed. Okay. I had my spiel about that earlier, but yeah, shout out to everybody who was utilizing the healing aspects, right, of cannabis to move forward with their own natural healing processes. Folks, like I say, we have all the tools available to us on this planet, within us and within our environment. We got to learn to use it. We got to learn how to get back to using the roots. We got to learn to get back to using the things that our ancestors and that the indigenous people around the world use to extend our health. Thank you for all you do. Namaste, says Heather. Oh, man. Warms my heart, Heather. Thank you for all that you do and all that you are. Thank you all for all that you do and all that you are. I love you all so much. Another magnificent episode. Please, please, please tune in next week, next Saturday at 7 p.m. We're going to have another magnificent conversation, and we'll probably share, no matter what the main subject is, we will have an update and share what we went through during the eclipse and how we utilized it energetically to our benefit, right? Okay, folks, man, we did it. Once again, I love you all. Thank you for this episode and for helping me to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq, I'm out.